yesterday we were thinking out of top of our heads and visioning what could the customer be and what they would like. And this is a very good starting point. The problem is that before we actually can put up the real business, we have to understand our customers a little bit better, and the only way to do that is ask them or make experiments. That if you just ask somebody, then would you like my product? People are usually kind and they tell you, yes, I might like your product. But when you actually have built the product and offer it to them, they say, it's not exactly what I was thinking of. That I don't like it and I don't buy it. Or any other excuse. So I give you an example. In Finland, one company, they were targeting businesses. They had a product for businesses, and they negotiated with 20 companies. And with 15, they signed contracts that the company is going to buy from them this product. And after they had signed these contracts, they told to the companies that, sorry, the product will be ready after a year, that we actually don't have a product. But thank you very much for being part of our marketing research. And as you were so kind and you helped us to understand what the customer really wants, we are going to give you the product for free when we are ready with this after a year. So this is like a real experiment with real customers trying to understand under which conditions they're going to buy. And with marketing and market research, this morning we're going to talk about it, how to find out more about our customers and when to actually get to the sales. Because very often marketing and sales are understood as the same thing. In reality, in such early stage as you are not actually in selling business. You are actually in learning business. That you have to learn and understand what do we have to do to make our sales grow. And to give you an example, what's the difference between marketing and sales? If you are looking for a job and you send out CVs and nobody asks you to an interview, then you have a marketing problem. If you get asked to the interviews but nobody is hiring you, then you have a sales problem. So that's the difference. That in order to have the customers to come to us or ask for us, we need to do marketing. In order to actually close the deal, we have to do sales. So we are not in sales yet, far from that. We are in marketing. We have a marketing problem. How to get customers to us, how to get customers to know about us, and how to actually find out who is our customer. Okay, so step one of market analysis is get out of the building. You can't think or analyze what's really happening out there, what the customers really think, without talking to them. And the reason is that we are making assumptions. We actually don't know. Will the customers pay more money for high quality coffee? We actually don't know. Would the advertisers pay for being on board of some huge screen? We don't know it. We assume. We make assumptions. We are guessing that maybe it is so, maybe not. We don't know. And nobody knows. There is nobody who can tell you what will happen. If you think of it, Twitter and Facebook are the most stupid products on earth. That majority of content there are cute cat pictures. So why the hell should people spend time on producing and sending out cute cat pictures? Yet they find it entertaining and they do it. So only the market can tell which idea will fly and which not. Okay, so we have assumptions, we are guessing, and we have to validate it with real customers. We have to go and ask from real customers. And there are ways how to make this simpler. Later you can Google first steps validation board. So this is like a tool you can use. It's another structure or matrix you can fill in. But we are going to do a little bit simpler version of it. So basically what it means is that you have to write down, what am I guessing about who my customer is? What is their problem? And how will my solution solve their problem? Then I have to think out, how can I ask from a customer, am I right or not? The easiest way would be to, if my target group is students, I go to, for example, library or cafeteria and ask them. I make interviews. That is this, how often you are looking for really high quality coffee, and how much do you pay right now for a coffee, and what do you think is a ridiculously expensive price for a coffee? And so we would get some answers on that. And this is a testing assumption, that you actually go out and do it. We had a joint project with Estonia, Latvia, Finland, and Russian universities. And we had a 24-hour business idea camp in Pskov. It's 200,000 people city nearby Estonian border in Russia. And these guys there, they had to, it was like exercise. The point wasn't so much to actually launch a business, it was more to show them how to validate your assumptions. The validation meaning that am I guessing right or wrong? That the customers, do they say, yes, that's my problem, or the customers say, that's not my problem. The teams had 15 minutes to come up with a problem they want to solve, 15 minutes to come up with a solution, then 15 minutes to think of 3 questions to ask from a customer, and then they had 1 hour and a half to go out of the building and actually ask the customers. And then they had like the rest of the 24 hours to get more answers. One of the teams came up with the idea of toy rent. That kids have today, nowadays have very much toys. I don't know how it's in Georgia, but at least in Estonia, it's like huge piles of toys, all kinds of plastic crap. So the idea was that instead of buying this stuff, we make a service that you send us some toys back, and we send you some new ones. And so you send some back, you get new ones. So the level of toys you have at home is constant, but they are replacing the toys. So they went out to the street and asked questions from mothers with kids that is the pile of toys a problem for you? Do you feel that you spend too much on buying new toys? And something else. So they found out that even in Pskov in Russia, the pile of toys is a problem. What wasn't the problem was the money they pay for the toys. That no parent would say that I'm not willing to pay for toys. And actually the price level that the parents were willing to pay for this rent service, or at least they said that they would pay, we don't know because it's just on the street questioning. They said that they were willing to pay up to like 10 euros monthly for such service. So quite a high price for Russia. So because it's not Moscow or St. Petersburg, it's like rural city. So this was what they found out, and they did also some Facebook questionnaires, and within 24 hours they had answers from 130 people. About 50 was, or 50 to 60 was interviewed in the streets or in the pubs, and the rest was from internet. So within 24 hours, actually it didn't take 24 hours, they said it took like 5 or 6 hours to get these answers. So within very short time, you can actually get feedback. We had another team in Estonia whose idea is that you are buying groceries, food stuff from supermarkets, and you have different supermarket chains, and they make discounts. Like they have 1 week as this supermarket has discounts, the other week the other has discounts, and it's very difficult to pay attention where is what the cheapest. So they are going to make a smartphone app which will tell you that today the cheapest place to buy your weekly or daily groceries is supermarket number 1. Tomorrow it will be supermarket number 2. And you have to enter what your regular basket is, what you are going to buy, and then it gives you this. Or it can be that what's the fastest, it gives you the fastest place where you can get all your stuff for okay price, or closest place. So different versions, and they wanted to understand what's the problem of a customer. That is it a problem? The assumption was that everybody has a problem with shopping. That it's shopping for food, it's boring, it takes time, and people don't like to do it. So they went out to the street and started asking people about do they find it problematic and not. And first time they did it in 8 o'clock in like a main street in Tartu, where there's lots of pubs. And they found out that students don't have this problem. For them, going to shopping for food, it's okay. It doesn't take much time. Everybody has to do it, so no problem. I'm not going to willing to pay for any app, or no way. But what they found out was that same students said that, okay, maybe in the future, if I had a family and I had to buy a lot of stuff, maybe this would be a problem. And maybe then I would use this app. When they had heard it for several times, they thought, okay, we are interviewing the wrong customers. Students are not our customers. It's not the students' problem. We have to look for families. So next time they went to supermarket at peak hour at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening, and they started to interview people who looked like they are housewives or they have family, and started to ask a question that is it a problem? And these people said that yes, it is a problem, especially with kids. It's like a nightmare. So then they found like who's the right target customer was. So you actually have to go out, test it in real life, and you have to make conclusions. Very often, I have a slide about it also later on, that what happened with another team in this Pskov exercise. They went out, asked the questions from their potential customers came back with the answers, looked at the answers and said, we asked wrong questions. That we can't conclude anything based on the answers they gave because we asked wrong questions. So you have to make sure that the information you gather has some value, that you can make some conclusions based on it. But asking anything, it's not going to work. And you have to repeat the process because the more you do it, the better you understand what's going on. Later on, you can watch this guy, Trevor, talking about his experience, and he's using more complicated version of this assumption validation. It's using the validation board. So to me, it's too complex. I would use simpler stuff. But if you like it, you can use also a validation board. It helps to structure how to, what are my assumptions, which assumption I'm testing, how I measure the results, and what was the conclusion. So he was trying to do import business, trying to import scooters, like small Motorolers, to United States because he thought that people would buy them if they are cheap and if they are economic and you can save the planet and so on. He bought from China like 10,000 scooters or something, and within 3 months he was able to sell 2. So it was a disaster. That it totally failed. So he tried more 3 months, sold some more, but basically he still had like thousands of scooters, and he somehow finally got rid of them with half price or something. But then he became interested in how to actually understand what went wrong. And why wasn't I able to sell, even though I had like cheap product, I had like environmental story that you should buy from me because it's environmentally good and you can get around in a city and yada da da da. And he started to ask actually the customers what are their interests. And what he did was that he put an ad into newspaper, or actually it was like a web page for selling stuff. And he put an ad, I'm selling a scooter for like very cheap price. And people started to call him and he started to interview them. That why are you buying it, is it important for you that it's ecological and so on. And then after he got his information, he said that, sorry to say, I don't have a scooter to sell you, but I'm a student, I'm doing this cool project, and thank you very much for answering these questions. And he thought that people would get mad at him, but as he described it as a cool project, people felt kind of proud that they were taking part of a cool project. So nobody got mad at him. And within like 2 weeks, he actually understood what the people would buy. And it turned out that people were not willing to buy a cheap scooter. They were willing to rent for some period cool scooters to look cool. And they wouldn't willing to buy it because they didn't know was a scooter, would it fit with my lifestyle? But I would be willing to rent it for a short period, like 3 months, to test it out, that maybe it's cool to ride a cool scooter. And so this turned out to be a business model. He actually, it's funny, if you look at the YouTube video, there's also comments, and somebody asked him that, did this business go off, or how did it go? And Trevor answers that, well, actually, I didn't want to go into this business. I was just testing that what would be a valid business model to make some money with scooters. And he actually got some customers who were willing to pay to rent it out from him. But he wasn't interested in this business anymore, so he didn't launch But in principle, he got to a point that let's launch it. So nice video how to validate your assumptions. So the tool we are going to use today is a simple matrix. Basically, assumptions about your customer, who they are, what is their problem, how important this problem is, what's the solution, what value you offer them, why is your solution unique. That you think it's unique that you're selling high quality coffee in Tbilisi, but maybe other people think that coffee is okay quality, and that's enough. I don't need any more high quality coffee. So you have to validate and check it. So here I put just random stuff in here to kind of show you what it would look like. That if my customer is an international student, the problem is that students are really missing good coffee, and there is no existing cafeteria has good enough coffee. This is my assumption, and experiment to validate, is it true? Do the international students really have this problem? I asked 50 students in a library or I don't know where, and I measure it on the percentage. That if I ask 50 people, at least half of them have to say that yes, it is my problem, and I haven't found an existing cafeteria. If only 2% of people say that it's their problem, then there's no market, probably. So how I measure the result of the answers? That is it validated or not? Do I have I proved that there is a problem or not? And the same about the solution. That we are assuming that they are willing to pay more for good coffee. So how much more? How many coffee prices do they know from top of their head? What do they think the good quality coffee should pay for?